Good morning, class ninth. But today we will start with the next kind of animal tissue, that is the muscular tissue. So, if we talk about the muscular tissue, I have already explained you when I have introduced all kind of tissues to you that muscular tissue, it helps in the movement of our body. It helps us to locomote from one area to another area. Okay, so muscular tissue is involved in every kind of movement or in every kind of locomotion that we are moving from one area to another area. Another thing, this muscle tissue, it is originated from the mesoderm. As I have told you that there are three layers, okay, endoderm, mesoderm and ectoderm. So mesoderm is the middle one. So muscular tissue is originated from the mesoderm and it forms the 40% of our total body weight. हमारा जितना weight होता है उसका 40% हमारे जो weight है, that is of actually the muscles. Okay, now muscles के जो cells हैं, the cells of muscular tissue, they are called as myocytes. So always remember this, that the word myo, it is related with the muscle. Always remember this. Whenever you read this word myo, it means it is related with the muscles. Okay, so these muscle cells, they have a special property of contractibility, that our muscles, they can contract. I hope you all know the meaning of word contract. Contract means to get shorten. Okay, like when we fold our elbow area, what happens, हमारे जो biceps के muscles होते हैं वो forcefully shorten हो जाते हैं. So at that time our muscles, they are showing the property of contractibility. When we are holding something, when I am holding the pen while writing anything, then again my muscles, they get contract. So whenever we have to perform any kind of movement, our muscles, they have to contract and then relax. So this property is called as contractibility. And here we should remember that our body contains 639 muscles. Okay, now if we talk about the structure of the muscles, they are made up of long fibers which are parallelly arranged, and these long fibers, they are called as myofibers. Okay, and further, these myofibers, they represent a single myocyte. Okay, so what I have told you, that these muscle tissues, they are made up of long fibers called as myofibers, and these myofibers, they represent a single muscle cell. Now the muscle cell's outer membrane is called as sarcolemma, and the cytoplasm of the muscle is called as sarcoplasm. Now these myocytes, they are having large number of mitochondria. They are having many mitochondria because these muscles, they are involved in various kind of movement, so they have to utilize the energy. So we know that energy is formed in mitochondria in the form of ATP. Okay, now each muscle, internally each muscle contain long, मैंने आपको पहले ही बताया था, long fibers are there which are parallelly arranged with each other, and they are present in the sarcoplasm. They are present in these long fibers, they are present in the sarcoplasm. Okay, now these fibers, they have a contractile protein, a special kind of protein named as the contractile protein, which is generally helping in contraction and relaxation. So that contraction and relaxation, that results in the movement. Like while we are walking, again our legs muscles, they sometimes gets contracted, then relaxes. When we write something, then our hand muscles, they get contracted as well as relaxed. So all kind of movements, they are having the contraction and relaxation. Now the question from here either comes in the form of definition, that defines sarcolemma, defines sarcoplasm, okay, or question comes in the form of the difference between the different types of muscle tissues. So here we should know that muscle tissues, they are of three types: striated muscles, unstriated muscles and cardiac muscles. Generally the difference comes in between the striated and the unstriated muscles. So let's begin with the difference between the striated, unstriated and cardiac muscles. Striated muscles, firstly I will explain. Striated means they are having striations on their body. Have you all seen the zebra? अगर रियलिटी में नहीं देखा तो आप लोगों ने पिक्चर्स में जेब्रा देखा होगा. जेब्रा इज हैविंग डार्क एंड लाइट बैंड्स, आई मीन वाइट और ब्लैक बैंड्स ऑन इट्स बॉडी. So they are called as striations or stripes, we can say. So in the same way, these striated muscles, they are also having the striations on their body. Okay, so that's why they are named as the striated muscles. Now these striated muscles, they are attached to the bones by the tendons. कल हमने पढ़ा था, मैंने आपको बताया था MTB, that skeletal muscles, they get attached with the bones with the help of tendons. So these are the muscles. हमारी जितनी भी outer movements होती हैं body की, like nodding your head, writing something, walking, dancing, every movement which is noticeable, all these kind of noticeable movements, they involve these striated muscles. Now as we all know that all these kind of movements, they are under the control of our body. If we want that I should wave my hand, only then I will wave my hand. If I want to write something, only then I can write. So these striated muscles, they are in full control of our mind, in full control of our body. That's why they are called as voluntary muscles, because they work according to our will. ये हमारी मर्जी के according काम करते हैं. Then comes the unbranched. They are unbranched. As you can see the diagram, the structure of this striated muscle is unbranched. There is no branching, and generally they are having the cylindrical shape. They are having the cylindrical shape. They have many nucleus, so that's why they are multinucleated. They show high contraction and extension. Okay, contraction means छोटा होना, extension means expand होना. So these muscles, they have property of contraction and extension, therefore they are involved in the various kind of movements, those movements which are noticeable from the outside. Now this is the diagram, and they undergo fatigueness. Fatigue मतलब थकान, ये बहुत जल्दी थक जाते हैं. अगर हम ज़्यादा हार्ड वर्क करते हैं, इनकी स्ट्रेचिंग करते हैं, then what happen? They get fatigue. This is again one of the characteristic feature of the striated muscle. Now we will discuss about the unstriated muscles. So these are also called as the smooth muscles. These are also called as the smooth muscles. Why they are called as smooth muscles? Because they are not having any kind of striation on their body. Okay, and all the internal movements which are not noticeable, वो movements जो हमें दिखाई नहीं देती, जो हमारे body के internal organs में हो रही है, like the food is passing in the stomach, the food is passing from stomach to intestine, we are unable to see all these kind of movements. And these kind of movements which are done in the visceral organs, visceral means internal organs, these kind of movements, they are under the control of unstriated, or we can say smooth muscles. Clear? They are involuntary. It means that these kind of muscles, they are not working according to our will. अब मैं ऐसा नहीं कर सकती कि मैं अपने फूड को ऑर्डर दूं कि हाँ जी आप इंटेस्टाइन में रुक जाओ, स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन में रुक जाओ, लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन में कुछ नहीं जाएगा. सो आई कांट से दिस. ओके, आई कांट ऑर्डर दीज मसल्स. बट स्ट्राइटेड मसल्स के केस में क्या था? अगर मैं नहीं चाहती कि मैंने नहीं लिखना, तो मैं वो नहीं लिखूंगी, मेरे हैंड के मसल्स मूव नहीं करेंगे. सो दीज मूवमेंट्स, दे आर अकॉर्डिंग टू आवर विल. बट अनस्ट्राइटेड मसल्स में, क्योंकि हमारे इंटरनल बॉडी ऑर्गन्स की फंक्शनिंग हो रही है इन मसल्स के थ्रू, उनके अंदर मूवमेंट हो रही है, तो उनकी जो मूवमेंट है दैट इज़ नॉट अंडर आवर कंट्रोल. दैट्स वाई दे आर involuntary in nature. These muscles, they are again unbranched. They are spindle shape, S shape. Spindle shape means S shape, and here there was cylindrical shape. Here the shape is S shape or spindle shape. You can see here. Okay, and they are having single nucleus. They show low contraction. अब इंटरनल ऑर्गन्स तो थोड़ा बहुत कंट्रैक्ट होते हैं ना, हमारी आर्म्स लेग्स की तरह मैक्सिमम कंट्रैक्शन नहीं चाहिए उन्हें. ओके, so that is why they show less contraction than the striated muscles. Okay, now the third category is the special kind of tissues, special kind of muscles. I must say they are called as cardiac muscles. Cardiac word is related with the heart. Cardiac word is related with the heart. So these kind of muscles, they are confined to heart only. They are only and only present in the heart, and they are responsible for the pumping of the heart, beating of the heart. Okay, so these cardiac muscles, they are made up of special kind of cells called as myocardial muscles. They are called as myocardial cells. Okay, they are again having single nucleus, and their structure is highly branched. Their structure is highly branched. You can see that branching is there. Okay, I have shown in the diagram. So heart muscles, they have property that they will never go fatigueness. They will never undergo fatigueness. अगर हमारा हार्ट ही थक जाएगा तो हमारी तो डेथ हो जाएगी ना. तो इसलिए हार्ट कभी भी अपना वर्क करना नहीं मतलब नहीं छोड़ता, वो कभी भी थकता नहीं है. And cardiac muscles, they have rich supply of mitochondria, because हार्ट को रेगुलर कॉन्टिन्यूसली बीटिंग करनी है तो उसको कॉन्टिन्यूसली एनर्जी सप्लाई चाहिए. सो हेयर अमाउंट ऑफ माइटोकॉन्ड्रिया इज large. Okay, so these were the differences between all three kind of muscles. Again, it is important for 3 marks. This difference along with the diagram, it is very, very important. And one more thing, these branches, they are interconnected with the intercalated disc. Okay, so these branches, they are intercommunicated. Okay, they are connected with the intercalated disc. So that was about the muscular tissue. Next comes the nervous tissue. In our first chapter, that is cell chapter, we have discussed that the nervous cell is the largest cell. And nervous cell, it helps in the transmission of the message from one body part to another body part. So these nervous cells, these neurons, they combine to form a special kind of tissue called as the nervous tissue. So these nervous tissues, they are basically involved in transmitting or transferring the information from one end of the body to the another end. Now this nervous tissue, it shows the property of excitability and conductivity. Excitability means whenever there is any change in the outer environment. Okay, so the nervous cell, the neuron, it will get that message. It will get excited. Okay, after getting excited, what happened? It got charged, and then that charge pass from one place to another place. That is called as conductivity. Okay, now these nervous tissues, when they get fully matured, they stop dividing themselves. उनमें कोई भी division नहीं होती. And neurons, they are the specialized structural and functional unit of nervous system. And we all know that nerve cell or neuron, it is the longest cell that is present in our body. So here I have shown this diagram, and again I would like to mention over here that this diagram is very, very important. Maximum of time this diagram comes for 3 marks in your paper. ओके, आप पुराने पेपर्स उठाकर देखेंगे तो आपको मैक्सिममली ये डायग्राम पेपर में मिलेगा. ओके, सो डोंट स्किप दिस डायग्राम. It's quite easy to draw. Okay, now if we talk about the diagram or structure of the neuron, it is further divided into two parts, that is cyton and axon. Cyton is also called as the cell body. Cyton is also called as the cell body. So it is the main body of neuron which is surrounded by the cell membrane, and its cytoplasm is termed as neuroplasm. Its cytoplasm, it is called as the neuroplasm. Okay. Now the cyton, it contain a nucleus, mitochondria and other cell organelles also, and they also contain some small grain like structures. Okay. Those grain like structures, they are called as Nissl granule. These Nissl granules, they are associated in the formation of राइबोसोमल आरएनए. ये कम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम में पूछा जाता है, आपकी बुक में मेंशन नहीं है, बट आई हैव एडेड ओवर हेयर बिकॉज दिस क्वेश्चन मैक्सिमम ऑफ टाइम it has been asked in the competitive exam. Now here it contains the finger-like branches called as the dendrites, okay, which receive the messages. Like if I draw the structure of cyton, it is star-like, okay, and it has number of branches which are arising from the cell body, and these branches, it catches the signal from the environment or from one neuron and then pass it on to the another part of the nerve cell. Okay, so what is the main function of dendrite? It will receive the impulse, it will receive any kind of message either from the neuron or from the environment and then transmit it to the cell body. Clear? Dendrite will transfer the message to cell body will further transfer the message to the axon. So axon is the next part of the neuron. Okay, so this part is cyton or cell body, and this long tail like structure is called as axon. So axon is the long process of cyton because it is outgrowing from the cyton area, so it is called as long process of cyton. It terminates into the presynaptic button like this. These are button like structures, so that's why they are called as presynaptic button. Now what is meaning of presynaptic button? If I talk about the conduction of the nerves impulse from one nervous tissue to the another nervous tissue, so I have roughly drawn the diagram of nervous tissue. Okay, here. So what happened? Firstly, this neuron will get the message that will be catched by the dendrites, then it will move to the cell body, then axon, and then from to the synaptic buttons. Now what happened? They are called as presynaptic buttons. Okay, as they are button like structures at their end, that's why they are called as presynaptic button. Now what is synapse? Synapse is the area between the two adjacent neurons. दो न्यूरॉन्स के बीच का जो एरिया है, that is called as synapse. So the buttons of this axon is called as presynaptic knob. Okay, because synapse से पहले ये present है. अब synapse के अंदर क्या होगा? ये जो प्री साइनेप्टिक नोब है, ये केमिकल सिक्रीट करेगी साइनेप्स में, फिर वो केमिकल कौन रिसीव करेगा? अगले न्यूरॉन के डेंड्राइट्स लेंगे, फिर उसको दोबारा से सेल बॉडी में ट्रांसमिट करेंगे, फिर एक्सॉन में ट्रांसमिट करेंगे, फिर प्री साइनेप्टिक नोब में, एंड फिर साइनेप्स आएगा, फिर नेक्स्ट न्यूरॉन आएगा. इस तरह से क्या होगा? मैसेज की कंडक्शन होती रहेगी फ्रॉम वन न्यूरॉन टू अनदर न्यूरॉन. ओके, हैव यू ऑल सीन द रिले रेस? आई थिंक दैट यू ऑल आर फैमिलियर विद द रिले रेस. रिले रेस में क्या होता है? डिफरेंट पॉइंट्स पे एथलीट्स खड़े होते हैं. तो एक एथलीट भागकर आता है और दूसरे एथलीट को एक टोकन पकड़ाता है. ठीक है, फिर वहाँ पर वो एथलीट भागकर अगले एथलीट को टोकन पकड़ाता है. तो यहाँ पर भी सेम, एक न्यूरॉन से दूसरे न्यूरॉन में मैसेज ट्रेवल हो रहा है, दूसरे से तीसरे में ट्रेवल हो रहा है. ओके, so it is like a relay race which is going on. Now again the function of neuron is again important. Now what are the functions of neuron? Neurons, they are the units to form a nervous टिश्यू. हमारे नर्व बनाते हैं ये जो हमारी नर्व है जो मैसेजेस को ट्रैवल कराती है ब्रेन से डिफरेंट बॉडी ऑर्गन्स और डिफरेंट बॉडी ऑर्गन से ब्रेन तक. तो वो जितना भी मैसेजेस का एक्सचेंज हो रहा है दैट इज डन बाय द नर्व्स. Nerves, they are made up of smallest functional structural unit called as the neuron. So neuron is the structural functional unit of nervous system. And what is its main function? Its main function is to transmit the message from one part of the body to another. Generally we can say that from central nervous system to body parts, and it will again take the message from the body parts to the central nervous system. So that was all about the animal tissue. So today we have completed with the animal tissue, and we have studied in the animal tissue about the epithelial tissue, about the connective tissue, about the muscular tissue, about the nervous tissue. So all of these tissues, they are very important. So what you have to do now, you have to read the same topic from the book, and you have to watch 2 Excel videos to enhance your learning of this concept, this chapter. Okay, then in a next class we will have the doubt session related to all of the topics of the animal tissue, and we will also discuss the question answers of this part. Thank you.